What is up, guys? Rick is here, and this is a video called Why I Love Destiny. Now, very importantly, this video is part 1 of 2 videos that are coming out at the exact same time today, with part 2 being called Why I Hate Destiny. Now, the reason I'm doing this is to illustrate the frankly love-hate relationship that comes with being a Destiny fan. On the one hand, we obviously love or have loved aspects of the game, we've played it a lot, and on the other hand, we're disappointed with a lot of decisions being made for Destiny. Obviously, these videos are meant to be viewed together. Please don't just watch one and then make a bunch of comments. You have to get both sides to get the proper perspective. And this one, again, is about why I love Destiny. So, let's get started. I think it's misunderstood on this channel that I have some sort of vendetta against Destiny, against Bungie, when I often criticize the game. And I'll even admit, yes, I can be very critical of Bungie, of Destiny. But I think it's important to remember, if you actually look at the content I'm making, especially, content that's advocating changes to the game, adding a new weapon rarity, introducing the missing combinations like Hawk Scout Rifles, like Omalon Auto Rifles, fixing multiplayer lag and stuff. These are all things that, if done, if Bungie actually listens to me, will result in a net positive gain for Destiny. It blows my mind that people forget. People get mad at other people who complain, like, oh, all you do is complain, you just complain about the game. But people forget that back in the day in vanilla Destiny, you had to farm spin metal for 4 hours on Earth just so you could upgrade one gun. It was terrible, and the only reason they changed it is because of people like me, complaining. And the reason we're complaining, the reason I'm making videos about Destiny, is obviously because I care about it, because there's something about it that I love. And I think probably one of the main reasons because of that is, looking back when it was first announced, when the trailers for Destiny first came out, there was something about that game, that the mystique about it, just what it offered, what it said would come with it, that I've never been more hyped. The hype train was all aboard, was full bore for me when Destiny was coming out. I remember I basically couldn't sleep before the Destiny Alpha. That's how hyped I was for it. I thought this game would be an absolute masterpiece. And unfortunately, what actually panned out, there was some problems with development. We all know that. A lot of the stuff was completely redone a year before it came out, and all that stuff happened, and a lot of the stuff that was in the trailers didn't actually make it into the original game and was cut out for the DLCs. That whole, DLC controversy that we're all familiar with happened, and yet, the game was still pretty damn good. Destiny at launch was still considered a full game, even though it went through development hell, having to redo again everything in the first year, and then still got stuff cut from it for the later DLCs, which, looking back was a mistake, but still. So it went through development hell. A lot of the stuff that should have been in the game was cut for, reasons of why I'm going to get into in the other video, trust me. But the game that came out was still a playable, basically complete game. And that's frankly amazing. And, we're thinking about this as an individual game right now, Destiny, but considering how, decent the final product, Destiny, was, after all of that, controversy, after all of that stuff, I can't imagine how fantastic Destiny 2 could potentially be if it didn't have to go through that stuff, if they didn't have to scrap everything a year before development, and they actually know what they're doing. Destiny 2 could be what Destiny 1 was supposed to, and that's why I'm still clinging to this franchise. That's why it still gives me hope, and that's why I still, love Destiny. And loving Destiny isn't just loving the state of the game right now. There's past love. I remember when the game first came out, when I was first playing Vault of Glass, that was unbelievable. I've never, you've got to give props where props is due. I've never played anything like the Raid, like the Vault of Glass, ever. in a first-person shooter. The amount of like puzzle solving, the amount of cooperation needed to complete that, in a first-person shooter is something I've never experienced in my life. I remember, I'm not, super pro-czar, so I actually had to, come back for a few days every day, getting like one step further in the Vault of Glass. And I remember like the first time killing Atheon and stuff, it was just amazing. It was such an amazing feeling. And the mystique of the Vault of Glass and the community like trying to find where the chests are. And I remember like when they actually found that other chest that involved killing the Templar really quickly and then going through that secret passageway, that was like insane. And there's still like rumors of another chest that somewhere exists in the Vault of Glass, and stuff like that. It just adds again to the mystique of the game. And playing through that first raid is again something that I never experienced in another first-person shooter, and I've still not experienced in a first-person shooter. The Destiny raids are on a next level. They have propelled first-person shooters to a next level of cooperation and puzzle solving. Additionally, I remember when the game first came out, and actually when we're in the Vault of Glass, one of the players that we were playing with had a hard light. And this is again like a week or so after the game came out, and exotics were far and few between. Like there was almost, I had never really seen an exotic before aside from the ones sold by Xur. And so this guy's like going over this guy's gun, seeing the hard light for the first time, how unique it looks, how it shoots, what was insane. Like just everyone was crowding around this guy, looking at his hard light, examining his character, and just being, their minds were blown. And it, like, it sounded different. That's something that I can't get over, how cool it is with Destiny. How most of the exotics not only like look amazing and look unique, but they sound different. And like I don't think people realize like how amazing that is, that you can recognize which exotic it is just by hearing it. Like that's such an awesome element of design, and it really makes the exotic weapon you're using actually feel exotic, feel special, especially when the game was kind of first coming out and it was first rolling out. Now exotics are kind of a joke. You have so many, they're so easy to get now, especially with 3 of coins. But back in the day when the game first launched, I remember like I was extremely unlucky, unfortunately, and I didn't get my first exotic like actually from loot until like a couple weeks into the game, maybe even a couple of months into the game, where I got the Hawkmoon for my first exotic. But I still remember, getting that. Almost no one else had that, and they were so mind blown. Wait, you have the Hawkmoon, really? And it was just such a special thing. And looking back at those times where exotics were so unique, when we were still figuring out the secrets of the Vault of Glass and stuff, there was a mystique. There's something about that time that I will forever love about Destiny. And it didn't necessarily all go downhill from that point. There was a lot of fun to be had in Crota's End. There was a lot of fun to be had. A lot of people didn't like Prison of Elders, but I actually found it pretty fun. And especially for House of Wolves, that was the first time I really started getting into Destiny's PvP. Doing, Iron Banners kind of for the first time. Trials of Osiris from the first time. That was actually so much fun, like sweating your way to 9-0. My first ever run of Trials of Osiris, my first ever run, I went 9-0 and got to the Lighthouse. And Planet Destiny, I'll forever remember Planet Destiny beat me by half an hour uploading their thing of, going 9-0 to the Lighthouse, because my computer at the time was so slow, it took like forever to render, and it was just so depressing. But still, it was so awesome to be part of that like first ever community. Like I'm 9-0 going there. Like I'd never seen, it was so early that we went 9-0. It was the first time, like, I'd never seen a video of someone else getting to the Lighthouse. So I got to experience the Lighthouse for the first time ever. Like, I'd never seen it to that point, and that was unreal. Like, the Lighthouse, getting there when you've never seen it before, was just breathtaking. It was so amazing. The atmosphere, the music, it was all just fantastic. And I think that a lot of the times within Destiny communities, sometimes, even myself, we focus too much on the negatives. But if we focus on the positives, like the stuff I just mentioned, we kind of get a better picture of what Destiny really means. And there's a lot of highlights. There's lowlights, trust me, that's coming in the next video. But there's a lot of highlights, and that really does give me hope for the Destiny franchise. Again, loving Destiny isn't just loving the game at this very point. It's loving the idea of Destiny and loving the potential franchise and Destiny 2 when it eventually comes out. And after they've taken all this criticism from me and others, hopefully Bungie now knows, what proper steps to take to make Destiny 2 the game we've always wanted. Now that's it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I really hope you do watch part 2 about why I hate Destiny. Again, both of these videos are meant to be watched together so you can kind of compare and contrast the differences. Now, if you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter. That's linked in the description down below, as is my Twitch channel, which you can follow as well. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.